Hey everyone, had a recent question asking what kind of items are actually selling on eBay. So I thought I'd share what we've sold so far for this year starting with January 1st and showing you all the items that we've sold because the best things to pick up are the items that actually sell. We have a ton of items that haven't sold, so I'm not going to encourage you to go pick up those items. But let's go into the items that have actually sold so that way you could get a good idea of what you should be looking for when you go out to thrift stores, garage sales, or estate sales. So let's get into it. I'm going to just hide this screen of me. Well, I'll put it down. I'll shrink myself down over here into the side so you can still see me. But we're going to review on eBay what items have actually sold. So starting off on the top, you're going to see this pair of swap boots. Now these swap boots sold for $70. We picked them up for about 10 bucks. And well, you know what, anytime that you find something that's like tactical or related to the military, those might be a good item to pick up. Next, down below, you're going to see a graphic equalizer. I love to pick up electronics, and that one sold for 61 bucks. Right below it, that is a vintage HP Omnibook. Now, anytime that you find an actual vintage item that's old, this one's from like 1984, whether it's Apple, whether it's HP, something like that, that's not even a tested item. It's sold for parts not working, and it's sold for $95. Right below that is a pump, breast pump. Now, as long as those are brand new, you could sell those on eBay, and you could get some really good money. Sometimes you can find those at thrift stores or sometimes at garage sales just because someone has it, but they've never utilized it, so they want to get rid of it. So those could be a very good pickup as well. Then down below that, you're going to see that there's a Sony, which is the 5-disc. I like to pick up those 5-disc carousels whenever possible, especially the big brand names such as Sony. Those ones are usually a good one to find and flip for a profit as well. Let me scroll down a little bit more. Next, you're going to find these Corel dishes. The wife loves to pick up the Corel dishes and does quite well with them. As you can see, those ones sold for $23.74, and there's some two below that, right under the next 5-disc, which is also a Sony. So when you see those Sony 5-disc CD changers, I'd definitely pick those up. Right below that is the lot of 6 Corel dishes. Those sold for 33 bucks, and then below that is the Nintendo Wii. Now, the Nintendo Wii's, they really don't sell that great anymore. I probably wouldn't pick it up. We've had that one for quite some time. It just sold for $40, and it also includes the controllers and everything to use it. But yeah, I'd probably stay away from those unless you're getting a really good deal on it. They don't bring in a whole lot of money anymore. So let me scroll down a little bit more, show you some more sales that we've had so far for this year. Next up is a Sony radio. Now, I like to find those 5-disc changers, but if I could find a good radio as well, I'll pick those up. Then right below that's more Corel dishes. So you're starting to see a theme here with the electronics and the dishes and whatnot. Below that is a Brixton fedora hat. That one sold for 18 bucks. And then below that it was this, it's actually a laser pointer, and it had an Insta sale, and it was only $10. It was part of a package that I picked up, so that's why I listed it. But boy, that thing sold within the hour of me listing it. For whatever reason, I guess people just like to get pointers, and they don't cost very much. And well, hey, for me it was free, so I had to list it. Let's scroll down a little bit more, see our next item. Next item are some Nike shoes. The wife likes to sell shoes. I hate selling shoes unless they're really a high-end type of shoes. Those Nikes, they only sold for like $13, so they didn't even sell for very much. So I'm not a big fan of shoes, but some shoes can be worth some money. But you just got to know what you're looking for. Now, the one below it, the Magnavox DVD VCR combo. Now, this one sold for $118, but if you ever see the Magnavox, which is the DV220 MW9, I know you're probably not going to remember that. Just remember Magnavox. Look up your Magnavoxes while you're out there, because some of those could be worth a lot of money, like this one here. I actually paid $25 for it. Normally, I don't pay more than $10 for one of the combo players, but if it's a specific one, which is this one, I've sold this one in the past. And for whatever reason, people gobble that one up and they'll pay big dollars for this one. It's not even a DVD recorder. Mostly if you find one that says DVD recorder on it, those ones are a good one. This one was just a VCR, VHS recorder. The DVD was not a recorder, but they still go for a huge chunk of change. So look for those ones. Find the Magnavox, look it up and see which one you might find. The ones that sell for big money can make you some big profit. Below that, you're going to see this was a humongous electronic piano keyboard, right? This thing was probably, I don't know, about 4 feet long, and it came with a stand, and it was a bear to package up. Had to make a custom box for it. Charged $70 for shipping, and it was $70 to ship, and it was only going like 2 states over. So if it went any further, I would have ate it bad on the shipping cost. So be really careful on the shipping, because when they're in such a big, ginormous box, and it's pretty heavy too, it does cost a pretty penny to ship. So that one, I fared well on it. I paid, I think it was $20 for the actual piano itself. Sold for $113, and I charged $70 for shipping, and it took all $70 to ship it out. But hey, you know what? We didn't have it very long. It sold pretty fast, so I'm glad we got it. Below that, bows. Anytime that you see anything bows, definitely look it up. It can make you smile. These are just the cords. Just the cords sold for $41. So that was a good find, because I also found other stuff with the cords as well. So I picked it all up and separated it out, and then obviously sold it. So let me scroll down a little bit more here. Next up, you're going to find the Pulp-Rite semi-automatic hair color. So essentially hair color for $10. And then we got some stickers in there that we sold. Below that, RC, so radio control items such as, well, this one is actually a simulator that hooks up to your computer. But anytime that you can find a remote control item, sometimes they could be pretty valuable. I mean, this, I think I paid $7 for it, sold for $47. It was used. It did come in the box, though. You could get good money on remote control items, because there's a lot of people that have collections and they need certain items. This was just one of those things that, it's just a simulator that they want to hook up to their computer and act like they're flying an airplane or a helicopter. So, those are a good find. Next on the list is the Guitar Hero Red Octane. Now, if you find these for Xbox are the ones that are going to get you the most money. I was pleased with this one. It was kind of a unique one, a smaller red guitar, and it went for $37.99. Paid $5 for it. So if you find those guitars, especially around $5, they're a great find. And if you can find them where it's for the Xbox, those are usually a pickup. As long as you're paying $10 less for it, definitely pick it up. Even those ones you could sell for parts as well. So they're a good find when you find the Xbox ones. Below that is a reel-to-reel. I found this one over at our local Deseret for $14. It sold for $166. It doesn't even work. And that's how I sold it, parts repair. But people, when they want an old piece of equipment, they're willing to pay for it. They're willing to fix it and pay big money for it, even if it's not working. So anytime that you find a reel-to-reel, definitely look it up, because it could bring in some big bucks is what I'm trying to say. Below that, you have a Blu-ray player. This one's made by LG. Some Blu-rays don't sell for very much, but there are some out there that go for some really good money. Like this one sold for $71. Picked it up for $8, sold it for $71. So that's a good find. Let me scroll down a little bit more here. We're going to come across Crocs. The wife loves to sell Crocs. I personally don't, but hey, when you're selling Crocs for $33, that's pretty huge. Below that, we had some whiskey bags. There's actually a collection of bags and toppers, and there was even some bottles in there that we picked up. And I think we paid $5 or $10 for the collection of them. We more than made probably 10 times our money on that. So just for 3 bags, they sold for $15. I can't believe people just want the bags themselves. Some people collect the toppers, some people want the bottles. So, yeah, it's wild. So when you find empty whiskey, rum bottles, things like that have uniqueness to them, those could be collectibles and can make you some money. Below that, you have the bobblehead, which was Herman Munster. For whatever reason, these things sell fast and they sell for pretty good money. For a $28.49 for a bobblehead of Frankenstein, Herman Munster. So yeah, that one the wife found, she picked up. I think she paid a couple bucks for it and flipped it for $28.49. Below that, Conair. The wife found a whole bunch of Conair that was brand new in the boxes, things that were sealed. So she found a whole lot of hair products, and this was one of them that she still had, and it ended up selling for $19.99. I believe she paid probably $4 or $5 for that one. Then below that, we've got another Sony radio. I'm going to scroll down a little bit to give you a better view. This one here is a 7.1 channel. That one sold for $49.39, so essentially $50, and I would have paid $7 for that one. Below that, you have a Philips four-head VCR. Now this one sold for $37.99, and one thing about that, if it's got a remote, it's going to capture more dollars than if it doesn't have a remote. So that one sold for $37.99, where typically those usually sell for about $25, but because I had the remote, I could get more money for it. And then golf clubs. I like to find golf clubs. This Titleist here wasn't one of the better golf clubs, but nonetheless, it still was able to bring in some money. I typically pay about $5 for golf clubs, and this one here sold for $23.65. And then down there below that, you can see that there's a Canon Pixma MX922. Now, that printer that did not even work correctly. So I sold it for parts repair. Maybe they could repair it. It just wasn't printing that great. So I did end up selling it. I paid $8 for it, sold it for $71, broken. So sometimes you can find these really nice printers, and even if they're broken, you can make some money on it. So look out for those Canon Pixma, especially that MX922. People will pay some good money for it. So we're down towards January 7th, so we got about 7 more days worth of sales. So let me get through a little bit more here. Next up, we have an air purifier made by Envion. If you find the ones that say sharper image on it, those are the good money ones. Those ones sell like instantly. You're not going to hold on to one of those for more than a week if it has the sharper image brand on it. These Envion ones are similar, but they don't bring in the money the same, and they don't sell as fast, but they still sell. So always look out for those air purifiers. Then right below that, we have the Halo Combat Evolved PC game, sold for $14. The Eddie Bauer Women's Medium Goose Down Jacket sold for $45. If you find one that has goose down, people love the goose down jackets. Definitely look those up. Those can be some good money makers. And then below that, you're going to see a Panasonic VCR that sold for $189. What? Yeah, I paid about $8 for that, and it sold for that much money. So there's some Highline VCRs out there, and that just happens to be one of them. So if you find a Highline VCR like that, you can make some good coin on it. Definitely look them up to see. There's some out there that obviously don't bring in very much, but that one itself brought in some good money. Next up on the list, we have some wallpaper tin tile that the wife picked up, sold for $15. We've got Snoopy in there. We actually picked up 2 of those for like $1 a piece, and they sold for $10. Below that, we have Disney Cars Cross Stitch, which was still new, sold for $18. Sold some more Krell dishes, and then we have the guitar, another guitar. So these guitars for Guitar Heroes sell quite well. So if you find them, definitely look them up. If you're paying, right around $5, usually a pretty good thing. The thing is, you got to test it and clean it up before you ship it off. So you want to make sure that it works, because nobody's going to want to have a broken guitar. It defeats the purpose. So a little bit of a pain to test, but other than that, it's not so bad. Then we have the what are these square? I don't even know what these things are. So it says magnetic building tiles toys. So it's one of these things that the wife picked up and she sold. Actually, she sold this in the past as well. And they sold for $25. And I think she picks these up in the little bags. So when you're at Savers or Goodwill, there's little baggies of toys and whatnot. And that's where she picks those up at. And she sold those, at least a couple times now. And then we've got some more Corelle dishes. And then we've got a pullover that's sold, so a little bit dabbling in clothes as well. There's some backgammon pieces. Now these are just the pieces. It's not the whole backgammon set itself, but it's just the pieces. And some people, well, they just need the dice or they need extra, pieces. So sometimes you could split up something. Let's say your game board on whatever game is not looking well. You can just sell the pieces itself. Then we have the dollhouse furniture, which is just the furniture for a dollhouse for $18.99, which sold. More bows, so that's more of the bows lot that I picked up from before. And that sold out as just one of the amplifiers. And then below that we have a whole home theater system. So it's actually the radio with the built-in CD, DVD player. And then there was 5 speakers and a remote for that sold for $108. And I picked that one up for $15. So that was a nice little flip as well. Below that you see the Pampered Chef Christmas tree. Now even though it's not the holidays, people still will buy a Christmas item, especially if it's a Pampered Chef type of item. So definitely if you see those, especially now that people have them, they don't need them anymore, they bring them over to Goodwill. You might want to pick it up, look it up, and see if it's something that you could flip. Carhartt's a big brand to flip for clothing items. That one sold for $14. Then there's some more Corelle dishes. And then down below that is a Hoover, which is one of those stick vacuum cleaners. So it's a long item. It's like a dust buster back in the day, hooked to a long pole with a vacuum portion down on the end. That one sold for $56.99. And we picked that one up for $10 over at our local Deseret. That one did not have the charger, but it still sold even without the charger. And then Scrabble, people like to pick up games. So we sold a 50th anniversary Scrabble. Below that's another Blu-ray player. This one was the Sony brand, and that one sold really well. The next one is kind of funny, the Razer gaming mouse. So this one was brand new in the box, and then this person ended up wanting to return it. He said that it was tarnished in the package, whatever that means for tarnished, but nonetheless I think he just changed his mind and didn't want the mouse. So he wants to return it. So right now he's actually shipping it back to me. I made another video on that one. It was just a little comedy spoof on that one altogether. So you might want to check out one of the shorts that I did on that one, just because I thought it was, it's humorous that somebody wants to return the mouse and then they just put that it's not as described, tarnished, so that they can return it and not have to pay the return shipping fee on that. That's what that one was all about. And then below that we have a water purifier pitcher. Those could be good if they're brand new. This one was brand new and it did come with the filter, so we picked that one up. Paid a total of $10 for the filter and the pitcher, and ended up selling for $37.99. Then we've got the Sony, well, it's a DVD CD changer. That one sold for $52. And then we got a TIAC receiver that went for $104, followed by a Yamaha that went for $44.65. So those are some good brands to look out for: Sony, TIAC, and Yamaha. Also, we find a lot of Denon products out here as well. So that's another one that you can look out for as well. And then we have some records that the wife picked up. These were the great era of 36 to 45, so the older type of records, and those sold for $35. And that one's the second, and we're still going through this year's stuff. We've got an old vintage Sony portable radio. Sometimes you can find some great portable radios. More Corelle dishes, another 5-disc Sony changer, and then down below that you see some ice hockey skates that sold for $40 that we picked up for $8. And then we have some ink cartridges, and those, look at the money on that. $42.99 for these ink cartridges. I think we paid $1 a piece, so we got $2 in this to sell for $42.99. So when you flip something from $2 to $42.99, that's a huge score. Now it's not all ink, but that ink in it's by itself, if you just scan it, look it up, see, they're so easy to list, so easy to ship, and it can make you some good money. There's some other that won't make you that much money, but hey, every dollar helps. Below that, you'll find the Sony 5-disc, another Sony 5-disc. So sell those all day long. Anytime you find a Sony 5-disc changer, you'll probably want to pick it up as long as you're paying under $10 for it. Then you have a UFO. This box set sold for $60 just because it's on UFOs. You know, people have a fascination with UFOs, so that box set on UFOs, which had 8 discs in it, $60. That one was a huge score that the wife found. Then we come across another 5-disc CD changer made by none other than Sony. And then we have it's a chess board game, which was $12. It was a mini set. And then we have the Rowenta iron. Anytime you find the brand Rowenta, that's a good one to pick up. They make all kinds of house goods, such as irons, so we'll be on the lookout for those. Then we have these Hallmark keepsake ornaments. Those sold for $7.60. And we're just about getting through all of our items that we sold for this year. Yep, this is where we finish up at. An Auric air cleaner, which was a tabletop mount. So an air purifier, air cleaner. That one sold for $40. Picked that one up at a garage sale for $5. We also have a beanie. Just a beanie sold for $8.54. More Crocs, $17 for some Crocs. We usually pick those up for $5 or less. And the last item on there is going to be another Guitar Hero guitar. So those are the items that we picked up for so far for this year. So it should give you some idea of what to look for while you're out there looking for items. This is what's been selling for us. The reason why we price things out at the way that we do, you'll notice that we tried to make 4 to 10 times our money back on the items that we pick up. So if we pick up an item for $4, we'll want it to sell for at least $16 for us to pick it up, or to want to pick it up. So that way we can make enough money off that item. At the end of the day, you're going to probably make about half that in profit. So if you're going from $4, buy it for $4, sell it for $16, half that amount will probably be your profit, about $8. So that's how we go by a general rule of thumb. When we're at garage sales, we can usually find items for 10 times the value, so we're going to make a better profit on it. But it just gives you an example of what we're doing. So I hope you like this video. I hope you learned something from it. I hope you got to see what items are selling so that you can look for them as well. And hopefully you can make some good flipping money as well. Whether it's you want to make $100, $1,000, whatever you're looking to make, I hope this helps you. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so I can see you on the next video.